Georgette. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. So, I'm still on my logical fallacy kick. And I had to sit down and kind of write a script. I'm hoping I'm going to do a little bit better with that, with staying on task and not getting all over the place. So, anyway, a logical fallacy is basically a flaw in our reasoning and thinking, and it kind of clouds up and makes a mess of our heads and behind like a point that's being made in, casual everyday conversation. Now, these fallacies, they often sound persuasive at first. But then when you take a closer look, they don't always hold up. And logical fallacies and this faulty thinking, it's something that's around us all day, every day. It's there. It's on YouTube. You see it in different advertisements. It's everywhere. Once you get those kind of, like thought glitches or fallacies, once you get those into a conversation, they can lead us down the wrong path. Sometimes we get lucky and we end up at the right conclusion. Sometimes we don't. Personally, I think that understanding, and this is what led me down my path of logical fallacies, I think that it's really important because it shapes how we think, how we act, and even how we vote. And that was my big thing, is I wanted to be more involved in the democratic process. Unfortunately, all I found is that all of these debates, they're just shit talking. I'm so disappointed, but at least I can think more clearly. So I got that going for me. By recognizing these errors in thought, we can make better decisions and we can resist undue influence from other individuals, from the media, from advertisements, from all over the place. And it gets a little bit better. The more you learn them and the more you catch them, it gets a little bit better. So it's kind of something that builds on itself. And like I said, the more equipped we are to think critically, the better decisions we're going to make for ourselves and for our loved ones. Everything from how we vote to buying a car to buying, even choosing what moisturizer we want to use. We're going to be more equipped in making good decisions. So today I wanted to take a look at the interview with Seth. I think it happened like maybe middle of last week. And I thought it was a really good interview because it has so many different kinds of, and not all of it is fallacies. Not all of it is what they would call fallacious. Not all of it is an error. These are just flags and signposts to tell us, hey, there might be a problem here. You need to stop and take a closer look. Okay, good morning, Roxy. And I already said hello to JJ or KK, or no, Georgette. I'm sorry. So good morning, Roxy. It should be a pretty chill group of folks today, Roxy. So you're fine. Hopefully it's not going to be too long because I just have, I think, maybe 5 slides to go over, or 5 clips. So anyway, good morning to Georgette, KK, Roxy, and Rebel City, I think. Are you Connie? I think you're Connie. So I'm going to hop on over, and this first one we're going to take a look at, it's one that we've already gone over. It's an ad hominem. Let me hop on over there.
Contacted them.
Okay, so I'm going to go over ad hominem real quick again. An ad hominem argument attacks the person that's making the statement or argument instead of addressing what is actually going on and talking through what is actually going on. And it's kind of, it's like saying you're wrong because you're not smart, instead of explaining why someone's point is incorrect or why you disagree with it. So it kind of distracts from the issue, and it just goes at discrediting the person instead. So this is going to be our first example.
Contacted them, because nobody that is on Betty's team or my team is actually reaching out to speak to these pathetic excuses for parents.
And Benny, if you actually listen to what was said there in court, the attorney.
Okay, so Tony, or no, not Tony, Seth refers to the Proudfoots as pathetic excuses for parents, and he's attacking their character instead of looking at what the subject was of this whole interview, which was the protection order that the court awarded the Proudfoots, giving them relief from Bullhorn Betty's behavior. So that's pretty much how it lays out. And then the next one we're going to look over, that's another kind of ad hominem. And I didn't want to go over too many ad hominems, but because a lot of people already know what those are pretty well. But there were some really good ones in here. So let's take a look at this one.
Psychopaths.
Tony, now you've accused them of lying, the Proudfoots, right? So what were they lying about from your perspective? And again, we have no independent information or confirmation that they said anything that was untrue, or verification that what they said was true, like either way. But what were they lying about from your perspective, and what's the evidence from your perspective that they are not telling the truth?
Well, they actually were lying, and it was proven in court that they were lying about what they stated in the protective orders, which was that she had had physical contact with them, that she was following, stalking, and harassing them. And even on the stand, Mr. Proudfoot admitted that he had never met her in person. So in my opinion, it's a little difficult.
So in this video, first thing first, he says that he calls them psychopaths, and he doesn't really have any factual basis for saying that they're psychopaths. And indirectly, well, actually, it's more direct. He says that everything that they said was a lie. He didn't give any kind of real examples of what the lies are. It sounded more like he didn't understand what harassment is, because he's saying that it wasn't, that, they didn't have any physical interaction. So right here, even if it's his mistake, his argument, that's, a broken logic. It's a kind of, broken way of thinking. He doesn't, he clearly doesn't understand what's going on, and he really shouldn't be speaking on it. His focus is on public relations, And to me, public relations, especially in this context, is basically casting Seth in a good light and repairing his image in front of the media because of all of the inappropriate things that he has already done online. So the next one we're going to look at is a hasty generalization.
Let me be crystal.
And a hasty generalization, it's assuming something is true for everyone after only seeing a small part of the picture. For example, if you meet two people from a city who are rude, and then you assume everyone in that particular city is rude, that would be an example of a hasty generalization. I think actually this is the one that I already played part of it. So they are, oh, wait, let me play this. Hold on a second. I think this is Seth speaking. Hold on.
Let me be crystal clear about something. That entire family lied under oath to get those protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian. We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home. And it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny. It also makes you wonder what would happen if Sebastian would have been able to file a protective order against his stepfather.
Seth, your reaction to what happened and.
So again, saying that just because they believe that they lied under oath, that automatically means what else? That they could be lying about other things. He doesn't know that, and he really should not be bringing that into the conversation because he doesn't know about it. And I would say that he's towing the line on defamation right there. And he's not providing any, I would say, legitimate, direct evidence that that they were lying. So again, pretty much other than what is his possible misunderstanding about what harassment is, because they didn't have any one-on-one contact with Bullhorn Betty, which I'm not sure that that's quite right, because I know, didn't she chase down grandfather? So, okay, so the next one, actually, I'm going to check for any questions. We've just got Georgette saying good morning last. And so the next one we're going to take a look at is straw man.
To get those protective.
And straw man fallacy, it misinterprets or oversimplifies someone else's position to make it easier to attack them. Instead of actually addressing the argument, we do a lot of sidestepping in today's examples, but instead of addressing the actual argument, they are creating a weaker or distorted version for them to argue against. They're kind of, stacking the deck. An example of this would be someone that says, we should improve our recycling program. That's, the implication is that there's something wrong with it. And there's, it may be the best that it can be, or they might not have any good ideas. So it would be, the argument back would be, oh, so you think it should be, we should just ban plastic? They're attacking a point that wasn't actually made. They're completely going off topic. It's kind of like they are arguing with a fake version of the original idea instead of addressing the real issue.
To get those protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian. We know for a fact that there's no proof.
So right here, they are misrepresenting the actions of the Proudfoots. They're suggesting that they're entirely focused on silencing people. And that, I wouldn't say that is exaggerating what is going on here with Bullhorn Betty and the Proudfoots. It's exaggerating and oversimplifying it. Bullhorn Betty is going after the Proudfoots, online, going out and being out in front of their house. And, just it's constant. It's constant. And it's a much bigger situation than what they are distorting it to be. And then our last one, I'm still making adjustments on how long these are going to be. So anyway, our last one is going to be a false cause logical fallacy. Sorry, tripped over my words there.
And what is?
And a false cause logical fallacy, that's where someone assumes that just because one thing happened before another, this one's a hard one. Just because one thing happened before another, the first thing must have caused the second. It's like saying, since A happened before B, therefore A must have caused B. An example would be something like, I wore my lucky socks and then we won the game. So the socks made us win. Just because the socks were worn before the win doesn't mean they actually caused the win. It mistakes coincidence for causation.
And what is happening in all of this?
My professional opinion, I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up and to hide themselves from the actual law.
And let me ask.
So in this one, Seth concludes that Sebastian was last seen at the Proudfoots' home, so they must be responsible for his disappearance. This assumes that because he disappeared that assumes causation, because he disappeared without the direct evidence linking the Proudfoots to the disappearance. The only link is that that's where he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be with his parents. And I know that Seth has, argued, well, it never happened. Sebastian never left my home, so it couldn't have happened. He couldn't have left. He didn't leave my home without my permission, so he couldn't have done that at the Proudfoots. Well, with time, different people have come to the forefront and said, while Sebastian's father was at work, he was leaving the home. He was coming out and visiting with us. Later on, even Seth admits it himself that didn't he say that Sebastian would come out and meet him when he came home from work? So he was leaving the home. It's not right, Cheyenne. The Sox had nothing to do with winning the game. Exactly. But still, that one is a sneaky one. That's one that I'm still working on picking out. I'm not as clear on it as I am. I like to be kind of like knee jerk with it, boom, that's ad hominem. Boom, that's all or nothing. So I like to be really on point with those, with identifying my logical fallacies, because as I've said before, they're like flags, and they kind of, say, hey, here's a problem. This is someplace you need to stop, slow down, and think about what's going on. So that's pretty much about the end of it for today. It looks like I didn't get enough material ready, because looks like I'm at 22 minutes. So I'm going to try to get more stuff for you guys as the day goes on. I'm going to try to get more stuff for you guys. Actually, I'm going to go back to watching the Leilani Simon trial, and I'm going to do my best to try to pick out the different logical fallacies, because lawyers do knowingly use logical fallacies. Most of us in daily life, we're not as aware of a bad argument, whereas attorneys are. That's part of what they pick apart, what they address in closing, or what they address when they are going up to question someone about, different witness, or every once in a blue moon, the accused will get on the stand. That doesn't happen very often, but definitely, watching out for your logical fallacies. It even makes it more interesting to watch true crime. Like I said, they're all around us. So they are something that is, I think that it's something that's very, oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I have one more. I almost wrapped it up and bugged out on you guys. Okay, so we did false cause. And okay, here we've got a last one. This one is appeal to emotion. This is one that you really, 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 this one's really one that I see all the time. It's a big one. So this is appeal to emotion.
Rogers is with us, and the Rogers.
And an appeal to emotion, it's a kind of argument where someone is trying to get your support for their position. And it's based on tapping into your emotions, whether it be fear or anger, sympathy, instead of logical reasons for the evidence. Even right now, I don't know, maybe I am, but I'm trying to kind of tap into people's curiosity into the value in learning more of these fallacies. I kind of think of them as something to kind of almost protect myself from undue influence from others. Independence is something I value. So see, there you go. I kind of try to tap in a little bit to fear of being unduly influenced by others. An example of a appeal to emotion would be something like, think of how sad the family is, so you should agree with me. Someone is trying to make you feel bad for the family instead of giving you a reason why their argument is correct. And it shifts the focus from the facts to the feelings to persuade you to take a position of one side or the other for whatever reason. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this clip, and then I'm going to check my comments in the chat, see if we got anything going on. So let's hop on over there and take a look at, look at his face. I can't remember. Vinny Napolitano, the face he's making. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll get that plan, and then we'll take a look at it.
Rogers is with us, and the Rogers family spokesperson, Tony Mattis, as well. Thank you both for coming here. What's your reaction, Seth and Tony, to what happened today or yesterday in court with Bullhorn Betty? And what are your thoughts about Bullhorn Betty and what she's been doing?
Well, Vinny, first off, thank you for having us tonight. Let me be crystal clear about something. That entire family lied under oath to get those protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian. We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home, and it makes you wonder.
Okay, so this one, both Seth and Tony, they are emphasizing, I didn't get my clips very good. But as you guys know, they are repeatedly emphasizing the idea that the Proudfoots are focused on silencing people rather than searching for Sebastian. We've heard that from Seth time and time and time again. It's almost like a drumbeat. And I think there's another part in this interview that you guys will have seen, that they're talking about how Seth is this broken-hearted father, and the importance of, we've heard, a lot about the importance of how important it is to look, and that he's an autistic child. That right there, to me, I would call that an appeal to emotion by highlighting that Sebastian is autistic, when in fact he's very high functioning. It sounds almost as if he could pass, quote unquote, pass for a quote unquote normal child, a child that doesn't have that diagnosis. So to me, that right out of the gate, pointing out that he has autism, knowing what most people see autism as, to me, that was an appeal to emotion, that we were trying to get people to look harder and focus on finding him more. Really kind of tap into the emotions of, because just about everybody knows, a child is autistic. This is something we didn't used to have a diagnosis for. We didn't have a name for it before. Now we do, and we can, we know so-and-so, my nephew has autism. My own child has autism. One of my children's friends has autism. So it's really kind of tapping into, and I think it was strategic on law enforcement's part and the media, to point out that Seth Rogers is on the spectrum of having autism. He has an autism diagnosis. And it also explains some of his behavior. I think we've heard a lot about how he just wanted to have a friend. So it kind of sounds like he was a little bit of a quirky kid, and he sometimes had a hard time relating to other people. It's something that's very common to children with autism. The not being able to read nonverbal communication well, not being able to connect with people the same way, not being able to get communication that's between the lines. So I think that, basically the pointing out that he has autism, I think that was supposed to be an emotional hook to for people to look a little bit more closely for Sebastian Rogers, to try to evoke emotion to people, kind of get some momentum going to help find, for everybody to keep their eyes and ears open and try to help find Sebastian. So, and I think that that's worked in this situation. The appeal to emotion has been extremely effective. A lot of people are looking for Sebastian, and there's a lot of emotion surrounding it. There's a big faction of people that see Seth as this broken-hearted father that's looking for his child, whereas the Proudfoots in the absence of knowing anything about what they're doing, hearing from them a whole lot, in the absence of that, all we have to draw on is what Seth is portraying them as, and he's villainizing them. So a lot of people see them as villains, and they're overlooking some of his stranger behavior. Seth has effectively deflected attention away from his own poor behavior by pointing the finger at the Proudfoots. So there's a lot of little flags here. Just in this one interview, there's a lot of little flags that really point out to us that there can be a lot of problems with these arguments and the information that's being provided, that we need to look a lot more closely at what's going on around us. So, that's pretty much, that's about it. My argument for learning more about logical fallacies, and then the logical fallacies that I see here at play in this single interview. So, and I just want to point out, before anybody starts trying to label me as a tragedy pimp, nothing about Sebastian Rogers is going to be tagged in this video, just because the topic here is about logical fallacies. That's what we're talking about, and we're looking at this particular interview as an example of where different places, look at how many times this happened in one interview. Whatever we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times that it happened in one interview. There's all these different times that we should have, a little flag or a little alarm should have gone off in our heads that, hey, stop, take a look at this. Stop, take a look at this. So this video is rife with places that we need to stop, and we need to take a closer look at what's going on. And like everybody says, do your research. We need to check into why these things are being said and what's the other side of the argument before we can make a determination of what it is that Seth Rogers is saying here. So that's pretty much about it. And I wanted to thank everybody for stopping by. Everybody in the replay crew, thank you for stopping by. If you would, give me a thumbs up on your way out the door. And if you guys see any interviews or anything like that you want to take a closer look at, whether it be about Seth Rogers, or anything else, I'd like to do that. Anything at all. Actually, right before I started this, there was an interview. It's one of the clip interviews that is floating around with different people, speaking their opinions on the different candidates. So I wanted to stop or take a look at one of those coming up. And I don't know if there's a problem other than an interpersonal problem about politics. So if anybody knows what YouTube problem there could be with that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to do one of those videos and take a look at, what these people's different reasoning is for the person that they like or dislike that's running for office right now. Personally, I'm voting for, I can't remember the name, Cthulhu. He's the god of chaos. So the god of chaos is who I'm voting for. Because I have a dark sense of humor. Anyway, so if anybody has any ideas or videos they want to direct me to, my email is in my About section. It's dictum, DICKTIM, at proton.me. And if you guys, actually, you know what? Let me put it down here because it'll be right here at the end. And that'll be a good place for people to find it easy. Trying to type around a microphone. So there you guys go. If anybody wants to send me an email, my email is down there in the bottom of the chat. And it's also in my about section. I wanted to thank everybody for stopping in, even if you just floated in to just say hello. I wanted to thank everybody who's taking the time to stop in, say hello, and taking the time to watch my video, listen to some of these fallacies, these, you know, my little flags, my little flag idea of different places we need to stop and listen a little bit closer and try to sort out what the argument is in a situation, what the other side is. So thank you so much for your time. You guys have a great day.